Okay. Think about the last time you tried to force yourself to do something you knew you should do. You set the alarm, put it on the calendar, told yourself, this time I'm actually going to do it. How long did that last? A week? Maybe two if you're really committed. And when it fell apart, you didn't just stop doing the thing. You started a whole other conversation in your head. The one that sounds like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just do this? Other people do things. Why is this so hard? That question, what's wrong with me, is where most people get stuck because they think the answer is discipline or motivation or better morning routines, or maybe if I just found the right app. So they try again, different system, same result. And the cycle gets exhausting. Not the action itself, the war between forcing yourself to do it and everything inside of you resisting it. I want you to think about where this shows up for you because it's probably not just one thing. Maybe it's the gym membership you used for 3 months and then quietly stopped going. Oh, you still pay for it. You just stopped going. Maybe it's the journaling practice that was going to change your life. You bought the journal, you did it for 11 days, and now it's in the drawer. I have a few of those. Maybe it's a conversation you've been meaning to have with your partner, your boss, a friend for 6 months. You know exactly what you'd say because you rehearsed it over and over in the shower. But when the moment comes, something stops you. Or maybe it's bigger, a career move, a relationship decision, starting a family, something you think about constantly but can't seem to act on. Here's the part that really gets to people. You do hard stuff all day. At work, you perform. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you perform, you deliver, you make decisions, you handle pressure. So why can't you do the things that actually matter to you? I know this one personally. I was a director at an IT consulting firm, part of the executive team. I'd climbed the ladder, got a chemistry degree, did some master's work, automated an entire lab, built a career in a field dominated by men. And on paper, I'd made it. And I still cried in the CFO's office when mistakes were pointed out. Not because the feedback was harsh. Doug was a great guy. Because somewhere inside of me, a thinking pattern was running that said, mistakes mean you're not good enough, Duez. That pattern had been there since I was a kid, crying at striking out in Little League. I wasn't dramatic. I just couldn't forgive myself for being imperfect. The same pattern, different stage, decades later. No, I didn't need another promotion. I didn't need thicker skin. I needed to see the thinking pattern that was creating the emotional response. But I didn't have the language yet. And you might not either. That's what this lesson is about. That gap between what you're capable of and what your thinking of patterns allow you to actually experience. That's not a discipline problem. That's a thinking problem. I'm going to show you a model that explains why this happens. It's called the TEAR model. Now, TEAR, T-E-A-R, stands for thoughts, emotions, actions, and results. It's a pyramid, and it's built from the ground up. Thoughts are the foundation of everything. It's the widest layer. Everything else is built on top of them. Emotions sit on your thinking, actions sit on your emotions, and results. What your life actually looks like, that's the peak, the output of everything underneath. Notice something? Head, heart, hands. We talked about this in course 2. Now you can see where each one lives. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. So let's start with T, the thoughts. I should work out. Most people hear that thought and think that's motivation. It's not. Listen to the word. Where does it come from? Who says you should? A doctor? Your Instagram feed? The version of yourself you think you're supposed to be? Should, have to, must, need to. These are words of obligation. And obligation doesn't create energy, it actually drains it. Now compare this to, I want to move my body because I feel better when I do. The same action, a completely different thought underneath it, different energy, different result. For me, I say, I want to work out because I'm going to live to be 120 years old. And I don't want to get to 120 and be just barely trying to get around. So that's what a thinking pattern sounds like. Not some deep, hidden, mysterious thing. It's the difference between I should and I want to, between I have to and I choose to. Most of us are shoulding all over ourselves and wondering, why are we exhausted? Your thoughts aren't just the voice in your head. They're patterns, ways your brain has learned to process the world, assign value, make judgments. And right now, most of those patterns are running on autopilot. You're reacting from them without ever seeing them. But once you can see them, once you know what's driving the reaction, you can get a choice that you didn't have before. You can't shift a pattern you can't see. But once you see it, you can ask yourself a different question. And then a different question creates a different chain reaction. Now let's look at the E, emotions. Energy in motion. The anxiety before hard conversation. It's real. The dread on Sunday night. You feel it. It's real. The guilt when you skip the thing you said you were going to do. Also feels real. Those feelings, they're not made up. They're not weakness. They're not something you need to push through. But here's what's happening beneath them. Your brain is responding to your thoughts as if they're threats. Daniel Goleman, in his book, Emotional Intelligence, he called it an amygdala hijack. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that detects danger and threats, processes information faster than your rational brain, milliseconds faster. So when it detects a threat, it floods your body with cortisol and adrenaline before you can even think about it. It's fight, flight, or freeze. And you don't want to feel threatened by something and say, oh, wonder what that is, and slow down. So the problem, your amygdala can't tell the difference between a real threat and I should know what I want by now. So your body responds to a should the same way it would respond to actual danger. Your heart rate goes up, muscles tighten, rational thinking, frankly, goes offline. You become stupider. And then you wonder why you can't make the decision, why you freeze, why you avoid. The feeling is real. It's physiological. But the threat, that's just a thinking pattern. Now the A, that's about actions. Not what you plan to do, but what you actually do. And that depends on the amount of energy you get from the emotion. So here's what most people don't realize, is that action actually follows emotional energy, not willpower. When your thinking is aligned, when you generally want something and your brain isn't firing threat signals at you, action flows. You don't have to force it. When your thinking's misaligned, when you're running on should, an obligation, every action feels like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. Now, you can do it for a while, but eventually you stop pushing. My friends, that's not failure. That's just physics. Willpower is a finite resource. Emotional energy from aligned thinking, it's renewable. It's like you're plugged into the outlet. And that's the difference between something that sticks and something that lasts 11 days. or 2 weeks. Now, R is results, what your life actually looks like. And results aren't random. They're the peak of the pyramid, the output of everything underneath it. Most people try to change their results directly. Oh, you know what? I need a new job. I need a new boss. I need a new routine, a new relationship. Hey, let's move to a new city. They're working on the tip of the pyramid. And it works. It does for a while. Until the same patterns in the foundation create the same results in the new environment. Some people try to force different actions, white knuckle it. That works slightly longer. A few try to manage their emotions. We're going to meditate. We're going to breathe. We're going to journal. And that helps. But again, it has a ceiling. Almost nobody goes to the base, the thinking, the foundation that the whole structure is built on. That's why nothing sticks. You've been working on the wrong layer of the pyramid. Now, the TEAR model. Thoughts are the foundation. Emotions are built and generated from your thinking, your perspectives. Actions are built on your emotions, your energy in motion. And results sit on top of that. The output is everything from underneath. You shift the foundation, and everything above it shifts. It can't help it. Not through willpower, but through alignment. Now, remember Sarah from Course 2? She was paralyzed for months over a job decision. And it looked like she couldn't decide between two options. But that wasn't really what was happening. The thoughts running underneath were, I should know what I want by now. I have to get this right. I can't afford to make the wrong choice. Now listen to that language. Should, have to, can't afford to. Every one of those thoughts was triggering a threat response. Her brain was treating a career decision like a survival situation, and her body did exactly what it's designed to do under threat. It froze. She wasn't frozen because the decision was too hard. She was frozen because her thinking was generating so much pressure that her system locked up to protect her from making a mistake. When she mapped that pattern on the call and saw what was actually happening, that the should was the problem, not the decision, the pressure dropped. And the decision came, not because she forced it, but because the war had stopped. That's what the private VQ call does. It takes one pattern. We're going to do that. We're going to walk through your report on that one sticking point. 15 to 20 minutes. Not theory, your actual situation. The links below this video. So that's the TEAR model. Thoughts, emotions, actions, results. The pyramid that runs underneath everything. And the reason willpower doesn't work is that willpower tries to force a layer of the pyramid to move without changing the foundation. You don't need more discipline. You need to see which thinking patterns are creating the resistance and shift those. That's what the rest of this course is about. What's one thing you've been trying to force yourself to do for months? Not the action, the should underneath it. Drop it into the comments here. No judgment. I just want you to notice. The next lesson is going to challenge something you probably believe about yourself. We're going to talk about personality assessments and tests and why they can't reach the foundation either. But if you're ready to map out your TEAR pattern now, the call is where we make it specific to you. The link's down below. I'll see you in the next lesson.